Bo Albert take the checkers at Brands Hatch. This week, we head to Hell, where Fox Gaming, in partnership with Spark LLM, look for redemption after a strong showing that included all three cars in the finale. Sindre Silva looks for his first podium of the season after stumbling from second to ninth in last week's finale. It's a beautiful day here in Norway for today's NASA Rallycross of Norway. It's a track that measures 1.01 kilometers, just over half a mile in length, with 2/3 of that being asphalt, the other third, of course, being gravel and dirt. A few tricky hairpins make up a majority of the turns, and the Joker takes you the long way around turn one with a hard right-hander. From talking to drivers, it'll add about 2 seconds to a lap when you take that Joker. I'm Chad Irvine. Here with me in the pre-race paddock is also our producer, Victor Vallee. Victor, we saw some great racing in round number one, and we're looking for another great showing today. Both Albert and Sindre showed a ton of speed last week and hope to do the same this week. Albert said it's one of his favorite tracks. Want to call your shot?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this week we have a lot of good drivers in the field, as you can see. Once again, I do apologize for any kind of audio issues we are having. I am working on fixing that at the moment. But with that said, however, I think it's going to be either Bo Albert or Connor Parisi or Sindre Silva, the three world championship drivers in this series, taking gold medal here today in Norway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. A driver that you didn't mention is Magnus Oakenhag. This track actually in real life is only about 40 minutes from him, and he was really looking forward to this race. He's had some good luck here in the NASA Rallycross season. In all three of his races here, he's got one win, one second place finish, as well as the only non-podium out of those three attempts. He finished fourth as well, so he's had some strong showings, and hopefully he shows some love for the fans back home. And just up the road from him is this track. Driver I want to talk about just a little bit here, Savian Ragster, finished P3 last week, but also collected multiple penalties along the way. And he's on probation, actually, for today's race after those incidents. What does he have to do to stay out of trouble?
I mean, of course, when you got to talk about staying out of trouble, the easiest thing to do is just keep your car clean, as we're actually focused on Savian right there. Just keep your car clean. Keep your nose clean, as we got about a minute left here in qualifying. Just keep it clean. He's going to be starting pretty far back in his heat here, it looks like Savian will be. So it will be interesting to see how he does here today. With that said, however, he is a really good driver, and as long as he can keep the car underneath him, he should be fine.
Yeah, your top four in qualifying right now: Connor Parisi, Bo Albert, Sindre Silva, and Jacob Ruffos. And the four of them are looking to start their heats up front. Not a lot of high-speed sections on today's track. A lot of just sweeping corners, a lot of hairpins. I think there's 3 hairpins that are kind of connected, but with straightaways and some slight bends as well. Any good passing zone you think we should watch out for? I definitely think that the Joker's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, of course, the Joker is a great passing opportunity, along with the both hairpin corners that you see on this track. We just saw this first one, and now we're looking at the second one. I think those are going to be the 2 passing opportunities, especially if you can get the 2 right side tires on the inside of the curb in that second hairpin. That's what I've been. That's what I see for a lot of these drivers, is putting that the 2 wheels on the inside of that curb gives them so much more traction. They're able to power off the corner and get by anybody in front of them.
Thanks for joining me here pre-race, Victor. I'll see you back here during the warm-up before the finale. We're here every week of the Sim Racer Coin NASA Rallycross, and now we'll send you to the dynamic duo that we'll call every lap of the season. From lights to flag, here's Josh Mertz and Dylan Baadte.
Yes, thank you, Chad. We grid up for heat number 1 here in Norway. Mr. Dylan Baadte, I don't think you've seen this track yet. What do you think?
Yeah, from what I'm getting so far, it looks pretty fun. These guys are certainly sending into these corners, so it's definitely going to be exciting.
Pole position, Connor Parisi, then Philip Kraus, Josh Edmondson, Brandon Lambert, Romain Rateau, Travis Seymour, and Andrew Howell. 6 laps, Joker once, and the top 2 will transfer through to the final. And let's see what will happen in this first heat race here in Norway. Green flag, Edmondson misses the start. Side by side, Kraus and Parisi down to turn number 1, and these guys have history. Parisi does not take the Joker. Kraus does through the first corner. Edmondson jokers as well. Seymour on the 144 does as well. So it's Parisi, Lambert, Rateau, Howell, and then it's a split with Kraus, Edmondson, and Seymour taking the Joker.
Yeah, it's weird to see the Joker so close to the start like that to me.
As Lambert looked to the inside of Parisi there in turn 3, the inaugural champion of the NASA Rallycross Challenge back in 2012A. And Romain Rateau, the Frenchman, for Mika Esport. Looks like Lambert gets a slowdown there in the 46, as Rateau had some bad luck last week. Lambert dropping like a rock here in the 46, had to give up so many places. Andrew Howell jokers in the 666, and this is just allowing Parisi to pull away.
Oh, Lambert getting into trouble on the bumps there, coming down through the left-hander.
Running it wide was Parisi in the 11. Rateau in second, Kraus, Edmondson, Lambert on the inside of Edmondson. We focus on them, hopefully. Up the hill, side by side. Edmondson nearly pinches the 46 out as we come to lap number 3. Car number 11, Connor Parisi leads on board. Brandon Lambert in the 46 for LMT. Way deep on the brakes.
Way deep.
And into the 58. And Edmondson not happy with that one as they both locked bumpers there, or locked fenders on the side. As we take a look at Parisi up front, this puts Kraus in second, Rateau in the 3rd position. You'll notice on our graphics, wonderful work from Victor Vallee as who has jokered and who has not. As we finally have that proper graphics package. We had that issue last week, but that's all sorted out. So we take crossed flags. Parisi leads Kraus once that's, it was 4.5 seconds, the gap. Very calm for this first heat race so far.
Yeah, not a whole lot of little incident there, with Lambert and co. Unfortunate to see Lambert having another rough week here. He kind of struggled last week, had some issues. I was really hoping with that good start here today, he'd have a nice little run. We get to see him have a little fun.
As the only cars that have not jokered Lambert, and then we're looking at, let me see, everyone else has. Well, Parisi has not, so it's a slower lap, but the delta that he's got is 5 seconds over Philip Kraus in car number 19.
I'll say we kind of get the fun here as Kraus went off early here, and now we get to see Parisi try it here at the end and see if Kraus can make up the difference, kind of get an idea for how much of a difference it's really going to make here in the first heat.
As coming to the white flag here in Norway, last lap 37.174 for Parisi. It was 37.629 for Kraus, half a second down. Is the 4-time champion and second all-time on the wins list. Remember, he broke my heart last week as Parisi takes the white flag. Kraus said he was retired, and then plot twist, ended up racing in Norway, or in Brands Hatch. Jokering is Parisi, and it's not even going to be a contest for those two. 37 flat to a 37.8. I think Kraus might know that he doesn't have the pace over Parisi, or he just knows that he's in a transfer spot. Might be part of the reason.
No reason for him to overshoot a corner and make a mistake. Just might as well ride around while he's got the gap he's got.
As final corner for Connor Parisi. The American, the pro driver, wins heat number 1, pole position in Norway. And transferring is Kraus in car number 19. Best of the rest is Rateau and Seymour. Edmondson and Howell battling as well, and Lambert will come home in the 7th position. And we can take a look at the format relatively quickly here as we have a moment. Obviously, pre-qualifying done, the top 28 in the instance that we need it. Those advance through to the night show. 6 lap heat races, one of them already in the books. You have to take the Joker lap once. Top 2 into the final. 2 LCQs, 5 laps apiece. You have to take the Joker once. And 10 laps, 2 Jokers for the final. Getting ready for heat 2. Bo Albert, Christian Ost, Dipple, Forrest, Ragster, and then Sean Stratton off the line. Crosgrove gets turned by Ost in the 157. Jokering is Dipple in the 34. Forrest on the inside of him as they're battling for the position there, exiting the Joker. The only two cars that have not jokered, points leader Albert and Savian Ragster. We take a look at our points leader, Bo Albert. New interpretation of the red plate and a beautiful interpretation with the red number banner. I immediately thought of the playoff drivers in the NASCAR, in the top 3 series there. And Ragster fairly close in second. Dipple third. Fourth is Forrest. Fifth is Stratton. Sixth, Crosgrove. Seventh is Oast. Those two do not joker yet, the top 2 at least, battling. But Dipple and Forrest fairly close.
Yeah, once again, looking like just like the last heat, our front 2 have kind of checked out a little bit here. It'll be interesting to see if when they joker, anybody else can catch up.
And Dipple and Forrest, Stratton, Crosgrove, Oast, that running order has not changed. You might see, well, what's going on here? Seems a little bit boring compared to last week. I think these drivers were really reined in from the chaos that was last week. Last week, new track as well. Not a lot of track time being placed down here, but this track been on the service for a couple of seasons, couple of years now, I think. So certainly a lot of practice done. On board, Kieran Forrest in car number 44. Dipple runs it wide in turn 2. Tries to close the gap up. He was 5/10 down on Dipple that last lap. It's Subaru versus Ford. Another interesting thing, still no Jake Robertson, so the Apex Racing Academy only represented by Forrest and Brokaw this evening. And the Ford representation.
To Victor, these are some excellent onboard shots he's bringing us here tonight.
As still out front, Bo Albert in car number 06. The only bad thing with him not being in Heat 1, he's not going to get pole position, so it's going to be a middle grid spot, and I think that's going to be really difficult to do. Because realistically, as the leader at this track and the pole sitter, if you get the jump off the line, you're able to run straight into the Joker, at least I would, and disregard everybody else. But he's not going to be able to have that if he pulls this off.
Yeah, definitely. Being in the middle seems like it's kind of an issue. You know, you're either you really can't if you're not right on the right side there. You can't take that Joker going into the first lap, and that kind of puts you in a box as far as strategy.
On board, Sean Stratton, car number 72 in the Subaru. He jokers. He's going to get passed by Crosgrove, it looks like, and he passed by Christian Oast in the 157. So it puts Stratton to the back of the field. As we go up front, Bo Albert will take the white flag in the 06. Sabian Ragster in the 91. John Dipple in the 34. As we're actually going to bring in fairly quickly, we're going to bring in Chad Irvine, who's our roaming pit reporter. What's up?
Oh, it's been fun to listen to these guys. Bo Albert during his heat race, or not Bo Albert, sorry, Parisi during his heat race when he won at round 1, he was silent on the radio. There was nothing but all the communication with P2 Philip Kraus. They were talking in that Spark garage. They were over the radio with him. Now it's same.
As it looks like Albert hit the wall there after the line and rolled it. I'm not sure if that was fully intentional, but that will have to be discussed after the fact. And I'm sure our race control taking care of that. Bo Albert and Sabian Ragster transferring in heat number 2.
Yeah, that's something I was talking about there, Josh. Both of the winners of your heats, they've been very quiet over the radio during races. Meanwhile, both Ragster and Kraus, who finished P2 in their heats, they were sitting there. They had everybody feeding them every bit of information during the entire race. I mean, they were getting deltas in front, deltas behind, who had jokered. It's really interesting to see the difference in kind of communications that these teams are running.
As heat number 3, thank you, Chad. Keep roaming around that paddock for more information. Silva, Oakenhag, Thomas, Keys, Erdman, Brokaw, Adkins getting ready for heat number 3 here in Norway. Oh, Green flag. Looks like Oakenhag maybe jumped the start. Down to turn 1, Sindre Silva leads us. Adam Thomas takes the Joker in the 625. He's going to be followed by Brokaw and Adkins. Oakenhag gets by Silva in turns 1 and 2, and Oakenhag, I'd say the hometown boy, he is compared to Silva, both Norwegians, but he's closer. Sindre to the inside, contact between them, and Sindre is worse off in this scenario.
And that's really unfortunate there. Those guys racing that hard. And, you know, like we said, it looked like the 26 might have rolled just a little bit before the lights turned green. And, you know, all of this might be for naught, and that it might have just cost Sindre his spot for nothing.
As we'll have to take a look and see. I haven't seen on race control if there was a black flag cleared or not. I'm sure Chad Irvine's going to get some information on that. Of course, not ask while they're driving, but see if he can pick up any information. Matt Keys is in the 2nd position for Digital Global Racing iDrive Sim Training. Sindre Silva for Foxhead Gaming Spark LLM trying to take the inside. Erdman in the 52 for LLM with Renovo. He's watching these two battle for the transfer spot, and Matt Keys not giving an inch to defending champion Sindre Silva. Remember, he does not have the red plate, as he did not have the greatest of races last week.
No,
And he turns the 62 of Keys. Keys saves it. I don't know if that's going to help him or hurt Sindre. We'll have to wait and see, of course. No live penalties in the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge, all done after the fact. It's going to be interesting to see.
Sindre nearly bended himself off into the following corner there. He got a little up into the bumps on the left side there and almost wrecked it.
And Adam Thomas, who took the Joker on the first lap, is in 2nd. Keys runs it shallow in the 62 there. He might get a slowdown. He has not Jokered. This might put Adam Thomas in his 2nd start in the transfer spot here. He's got to hold off defending champion Sindre Silva, getting very aggressive in the 63.
Yeah, if I'm him, that's the last thing I want to see in my rearview mirror right now is that orange card all over my bumper.
As he bumped him in the 63, I'm not sure how race control will take to that. Of course, Rallycross is Rallycross, and you bump people out of the way, but Sindre Silva, the last couple laps, not having the greatest of times. Erdman in the 52, Brokaw, and Mark Adkins in the back of the field. 2 to go for Magnus Oakenhag after that electric start off the line. Did not jump according to race control. I have not seen a penalty cleared, but of course we'll see if he does not make it.
I can confirm from the pit of Magnus there is no false start. There is no penalty for that car.
I was gonna say, if it was there, it was very close. I mean, it was, and he did appear start to move and attempt to stop again before fully accelerating. So I can understand why it would be a gray area and let it go. It's fully.
Dare I say it? Best start in a while to be that pin, millimeter perfect, picture perfect. In the 26, he is not Jokered along with Keys. Sindre Silva in the 63 closes up on Keys, as they have history in the last couple of laps here, but Keys Jokers
there,
with
Josh,
no issues.
Picture perfect on the start. Yeah, maybe he's just that good at starts, and we're not used to seeing that, and that's why it looked like he jumped.
And it might give him a slowdown. I think his corner was a little messy there, but we'll have to wait and see. Oakenhag leads Silva, Thomas, Keys way on the inside off screen here, trying to make something happen, couldn't get it done. Erdman, Brokaw, and Adkins. Final corner in heat number 3 for Magnus Oakenhag. He shows the pro driver Sindre Silva that you don't have to be pro to be fast, as the 2 Norwegians through to the final here in heat 3.
Yeah, and the first heat might not have been as exciting as last week, but that second one sure cranked up the intensity. It's kind of the same way last week started off. The first one was a little tame, and then we got wild. Or was this 3?
This was heat 3.
I'm sorry, I can't count, guys.
Yeah, that Spark team down in their pit during that race, they were calm over the radio. Once they realized there was not a penalty for that jump start, he did roll it early. Once they realized there was no false start there, it was just kind of making sure you were clean on your nose and kept things going out the front.
Ruffos, Kingsbury, Moftaw, Hook, Kingsbury, Feldman.
2 of them that time.
Might be a jump start for Jacob Ruffos and Jason Hook. We'll have to see in a turn 1. 3 wide, Kingsbury and Moftaw take to the Joker, the teammates. Matt Kingsbury and Moftaw very shallow in the corner there. I know it's not on screen, but I was worried he was going to hit his teammate. And Ruffos will lead us, words are hard, here on the first lap. Matt Kingsbury, the inside, Hook trying the same thing he did in Crandon on the final race of last season, trying to really do a reverse Scandinavian flick, and it's not going to work. It's interesting to see. We'll have to get Chad Irvine down into the paddock there to see if there's any jump start for Hook or Ruffos, as Ruffos leads at the end of the first lap. No black flags cleared from our director, Victor Vallee. We'll take a look at Ruffos in car number 13. Did not race last week. I think he overslept and missed the race. Remember, we are racing at 8:30 Central Time here in the United States. I want to say Norway is about 7 hours ahead of me, so it's certainly middle of the night, and 13-year-old really should be in bed, but I'm not his parent, so it doesn't matter to me. Ruffos leads at the end of lap 2. Kingsbury, Hook, Kingsbury, Moftoff, Feldman. Very subdued here in Heat 4, Dylan.
Yeah, this one's very calm. I think those guys kind of got all the excitement out in that last one. Didn't want to be as aggressive as what they had seen from Heat 3.
And it's going to be interesting. Kingsbury 37.911, Hook a 38.163. Ray Kingsbury's faster than Hook. He ran a 37.530. So the brothers, I think, are going to be battling for a transfer spot here. Ruffos has not jokered, Kingsbury's not jokered, Hook is not jokered, but Ray has, so dare I say it, if I take a look at the delta, it's 4 seconds from Ruffos to Hook. We'll see when it refreshes here. As Matt jokers in the 21, we take a look at Ray in the 25, and he takes the spot away from his brother, and we put the 25 in the transfer spot, and he jokered on the first opportunity there. As Chad Irvine back in the commentary box, you got anything for us?
Yeah, Matt Kingsbury taking his joker. He did lock him up, was not feeling confident in it, and looks like Ray is in E2 right now.
And we were on board with, I believe that was Matt Kingsbury, as you were reporting, Chad. And Matt Kingsbury lost it in the hairpin in turn 3, and he's also hit the wall there. So not a good day right now for the man from Connecticut.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to do what we heard Victor and Chad talking about in the pre-race, where he was trying to get his tires inside of the curbing, and it just didn't work out quite right, and it ripped the car sideways on him.
As I can tell you from experience at this track, it is so hard to get that maneuver right, because if you gas it at the wrong time, or you have, literally it's a math equation while you're trying to drive. If you have too much tire off of that curb, it's going to spit you, just like what happened to Kingsbury. As Ruffos takes the white flag, Moftoff getting close to his teammate here, and a battle with Feldman and Hook, the teammates from Australia. The iDrive Sim Training Digital Global Racing cars. Hook in the 137, Feldman in the 84, the only female competitor in the series. Hook runs it wide in the 137, on board still with the 84. Can she make anything happen? Granted, this means nothing for the overall picture, but you know Feldman wants to race her teammates very hard. And I want to say those DGR guys and girls do have a great show. Up front, Ruffos off of the final corner, no jump start, and he wins Heat 4 in Norway, and Ray Kingsbury, great strategy from the American, goes through in second. Moftoff, the Egyptian, ahead of Matt Kingsbury, Jason Hook, and Feldman, rounds out our order of Heat 4. So now, we begin the first consolation race. And let me tell you, we have 9 cars going for 1 spot. Rateau, Thomas, Seymour, Keys, Edmondson, Erdman, Howell, Brokaw, and Lambert.
Yeah, it's going to be a crowded track here. We haven't seen anything like this all night.
As
Full on field.
We await for the gridding process. Thank you all for joining us here on the Automotive Sports Network coverage today, brought to you by Simracer Coin, the cryptocurrency made by sim racers for sim racers, and these racers will race to own the winner's coin tonight. simracercoin.org for all of that information and their mission and drive. As we get ready, 9 for 1 spot in the C main. Green flag, Rateau off the line, good start over Thomas, contact in the back there between it's Edmondson and Lambert and Keys in
man,
turn 1.
Everybody.
Jokering is Seymour and Erdman. And up front, Rateau and Thomas. And we know Thomas has speed in that 625. And Lambert not having a good day once again, the inaugural champion.
Anytime.
And Edmondson struggling in the back. Thomas had a slowdown in the 625. I think he had a great move set up, but he clipped the curb.
Yeah, it just looked like the curb grabbed him and spat him a little bit off course.
End of lap 1, Rateau leads, the Frenchman. In car number 23, we remember car number 23, one of the leading numbers in this series, but it was Chris Wetz back in the day that ran that car to so many wins and podiums. We'll have to see if the Frenchman can continue that momentum. Lambert in 3rd, Seymour in 4th. Lambert, I believe, jokered here in the 46.
No, he got wrecked on that first lap. I don't think he jokered.
He just jokered. He just
And
took the
into
joker.
Seymour there on the 144 as I'm taking a look. Everybody wadding it up nearly in the hairpin there. Not sure what's going on here. I'm taking a look off monitor. Lambert ran it wide. Seymour just tried to take it, and it looked like they just hooked together. So the messiness is beginning here, gentlemen.
Yeah, the things are starting to matter. You know, the
And Rateau jokered in the 23. It puts Thomas in the lead. Thomas has not jokered in the 625. It's going to be 2 laps to go, and if the delta is going to be 2 seconds, it's going to be interesting to see, as I don't think that's going to be 2 seconds. Lambert in the 46. Erdman, Brokaw, Howell, Keys, Edmondson, and Seymour, the running order. We'll have to take a look at our race leader, Adam Thomas. He's going to wait until the final lap, so he's going to make sure that he can hold this delta over Romain Rateau in the 23.
One thing to note, Josh, by the way, track state does reset. Now, they moved it from before the A main to before the LCQs. It was a change based on feedback from the drivers last week, and it seems to have played a difference here as the track is really doesn't have as much grip as we thought it would.
As remember, that track, granted Brands Hatch is not normally a rallycross track. They put dirt on asphalt. The asphalt gets worn, or the dirt wears down to the asphalt. White flag for Thomas. We'll take a look at this rotation. Can Thomas hold the lead? Out of the joker, Thomas v. Rateau, no contest, and Rateau back to the race lead in car number 23, but I don't think this is over. On board, car number 625.
Good run into this corner. If he can keep it clean, he might have something here for him.
Of Adam Thomas, running it wide, getting all the run off of the asphalt. He's got one last chance. Can he make it happen, or Rateau? Will Rateau run it wide? Final corner for the first transfer spot of the night in the LCQ. Thomas tries, but Rateau makes it through in the C main. 11th.
What a good race at the end there, though. Great finish, guys.
11th, Adam Thomas. 13th, Lambert. 15th, Erdman. 17th, Brokaw. 19th, Howell. 21st, Matt Keys.
Oh, and he's drifting everywhere, boys. You can tell he's excited about
23rd, Seymour. 25th, Edmondson. And Rateau makes it through in the C main. We got one race left until the final. Dipple, Moftop, Forest, Kingsbury, Crosgrove, Hook, Oast, Feldman, Stratton, Atkins. 10 cars for one spot. You thought last race was crazy. I don't know what we're going to expect here.
We thought 9 was a lot. We're just going to add some more and see what we can do here.
3 by 3 by 3 by 1, 5 laps. Joker once. Hook backs it up this time. Is that a reverse jump start? Green flag. Off of the line, side by side. Dipple and Moftaw into turn number 1. Hook on his black flag cleared. Forrest gets hit by Stratton into turn 1. The only car to Joker was Hook, Atkins, and Stratton, and everybody else is going to battle into turn 2. Oast and Forrest contact. Oast gets pushed out wide, and Kingsbury in third here trying to take the fight to Moftaw into turn 3. Running it wide is Dipple. Kingsbury deep on the brakes. Into Moftaw, into Dipple, and the American says, move out of my way. I'm going to take this position, and Kingsbury roughs him up into the race lead.
Now playing ludicrous in the number 21 machine.
Exactly, with a word that we cannot say on the air. At the end of the first lap, Kingsbury leads from the 4th position down to the lead. Moftop, Forrest, Crosgrove, Oast, Feldman, Stratton, Atkins, Hook, and Dipple goes from 1st to 10th in one corner. It's going to be interesting to see if Chad Irvine can get anything from the LRL team regarding that, or if Matt Kingsbury will end up getting a penalty later on. Like I mentioned before, no live penalties, so unfortunately it's not going to help Dipple here.
I mean, the first contact looked like it was incidental just due to a spread of cars being in one area, and the second one, I mean, the car in front of him was losing it, and he was just there. I feel like, you know, it's very iffy on that call again. Everything, they seem to be pretty lenient tonight here with our officials, and I feel like that won't be anything.
As the first car to Joker was Stratton in the 72. He is in 5th spot. Contact nearly between Moftaw and Kingsbury. They're battling for the race lead up front, as Cody Crosgrove in the 18, getting very close to those two. Kingsbury, these two technically not teammates now, but of course every other time they're teammates in the Spark LLM squad. As remember, Renovo and LLM came together for Rallycross. Moftaw gives Matt a little bump as 2 laps to go between these two. As Kingsbury jokers, he's going to give up the lead. He's going to give up second. He's going to come out in front of Stratton. This is crucial for the 21 to get that transfer spot. Remember, Stratton was the first to joker in this race.
Couple things to note from that Spark pit. Kingsbury might have a slowdown, but they were talking the entire time with Marwan Moftah's crew about when to take the Joker. Basically, they were saying coming through that last lap, if you want it, you can take it. But if Matt does not take it, you're going to take it right then. Matt took it, and Marwan stayed on track, and here he comes for his Joker.
Moftaw and Crosgrove will joker. We'll have to look at Stratton around the 191. No contest. It's actually going to be a battle for the race lead. Contact between them. It was an undercut from Kingsbury. Over under for the race lead on board the 21. Looking out the back of the 191. You can't be too cautious if you're Moftaw. You have everybody behind you. And will you defend your teammate or will you go for the win? Crosgrove into the wall in the 18. Final corner. Moftaw tries. Will he try and get the spot for himself off of the final corner? No! Kingsbury cedes 10th. 12th Moftaw, 14th Stratton, 16th will be Forrest, 18th Oast, 20th Feldman, 22nd Dipple, 24th Hook, 26th Adkins. Wow.
Yeah, wow. These LCQ races have been just phenomenal tonight. They're definitely saving the best for the end and the prime time here.
As the intensity ramps up, we take a moment and we get ready for the final. But first, it's warm-up time.
I believe this is my chance to jump in here. Welcome everybody back to the studio here. The NASA Rallycross Simracer Coin Challenge here at Lånkebanen here, as everybody knows it, hell in Norway. And no, it is not hell as you believe it, but this is hell as a racetrack. So everybody on board here. Go ahead and bring in Chad Irvine, our pit reporter. Chad, say you've been down in the pits. What have you learned from the drivers? What's the biggest challenge that they have faced today?
Gentlemen, I have to break in really quickly, quickly. Connor's PC has crashed. We'll have to see. Maybe he will not make it. He says he should make it just in case. But
so that's
continue.
a huge developing story right there with Connor Parisi, your pole sitter for tonight's feature, having some computer troubles to break the third wall here a little bit. Computer troubles, of course, and hopefully he gets back in before the feature, but he does have 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So unless he has a really good computer, it's going to be tight.
Victor, we were talking about strategy before somebody rudely interrupted us.
Yes.
But we were talking about strategy. The biggest thing that I've heard from talking to these guys jumping from pit to pit is just when you take that joker. We talked about it's about a 2-second delta. You get 2 of them in the final. The track state does reset, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. I think that you're going to want to probably take one in the first 1 or 2 laps and then maybe hold the second one. I don't think you want to burn them too early, see if you can't pull a gap on cars behind.
And if you are Connor Parisi in this situation, you're not going to have a chance to test the joker. You're not going to be able to test the grip. Do you take that joker on the first lap coming straight out of the starting gate here?
I think the interesting thing what I would do, kind of leaning into it, is probably to take it right off the bat. That way you don't have that full straightaway speed coming into it. You actually have a little bit slower entry speed and kind of have a little bit of a cushion there. You might want to take it on that first lap, and especially, colder tires might play into that. But overall, I think that the way to go would probably have to be taking it lap 1.
Absolutely. And just looking at the timing sheet right now, it looks like Bo Albert's laps have not registered quite yet. He still has yet to take a time. But currently, fastest man on track is Sindre Silva. And as I say that, Bo Albert times in at a 30.097, I believe, is what I see on my timing screen, which is second fastest right now to Silva. Now, and say when it comes to the pro drivers, it's probably going to be one of them unless something happens on the start. So who would your dark horse pick be, excluding the pro drivers tonight?
Oh, it has to be Magnus. I mean, the way that he has driven this track in this series, the last 3 seasons that he's run it, he's had 2 podiums, he's had a win, and his one that was not a podium was 4th. So he's been right up there every time. He's going to start 3rd on the outside of the front row. So it's maybe not the best, maybe not where you want to be. It might force his hand into the Joker, but definitely kind of just a wait and see pattern as we still wait to figure out what happens with Connor Parisi.
And I'm going to say once again, excuse me, Magnus Oakenhag here, I believe he was talking in our Discord earlier today. He said that he has some redemption waiting for him today. I believe that 4th place last year. Ooh, contact out of the Joker. That's Ragster and Oakenhag getting into it there. But anyways, he says he has some redemption because I believe last season, 2020, I believe C was the season. He had his worst finish of the year at this track, which is his home track, only 40 minutes away. Got a couple different Nordic drivers in the field, but Norwegian, drivers in the field. Silva, Oakenhag, and I believe as well as Ruffos. So that's your Norwegian drivers, your hometown drivers. If you want somebody to cheer for, there you go. But right now, actually, as we're looking at the timing, new fastest time, Bo Albert in the 06 there, as he actually gets into it with Oakenhag.
What a big surprise that is.
Yeah, a 36.756 right now for warm-up. As we come to the conclusion of warm-up, go ahead and bring back in our, as you called them earlier today, the dynamic duo of Dylan Baadte and Josh Mertz. So we'll go ahead and bring it back to them.
And I just want to say, as we bring them in, no Connor Parisi yet. Oh my goodness.
Round number 2 of the 2021A Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. Round number 178 of the championship overall. And I want to say it is the 4th Norwegian Rallycross Grand Prix. No Connor Parisi yet, but we will go through our grid either way. Parisi, Albert, Oakenhag, front row. Ruffos, Kraus, Ragster.
Just an update, we do have a delay to the grid trying to get Connor Parisi, your pole sitter, time to get back into the car. 3 minutes he has to reconnect. We'll have to see what happens for him.
Thank you for that that information. I would have been standing here hyping up and not going. So, a little bit delayed due to the circumstances. Thank you for joining us here on the Automotive Sports Network. Josh Mertz, Dylan Baadte in the commentary box. Down on the pit lane. Well, there's no pit lane. It's realistically the paddock. Chad Irvine, and in the production truck, Victor Vallee. Join the conversation. All the social medias. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, ASN TV USA, except for Twitter, ASN TV _USA. They actually banned me from trying to get the USA one. I've been fighting that, and they haven't really been playing nice on that. Join the conversation. Hashtag ASN TV USA. Hashtag NASA Rallycross. And we get ready. Points leader Bo Albert. He has, let's look, a 3-point lead over Magnus Oakenhag. 8 points to Sabian Ragster, Edmondson, Dipple, Kraus, Kingsbury, Silva, McDonald, and Parisi. So no McDonald here today, actually, in the 95.
breaking news for you, Mertz. It does sound like Connor is not going to be able to make the start. They delayed it, tried to get him. Wait a minute.
He listed connected.
He said he's not going to make it, and now he is here.
This is interesting. Let's go through our grid fairly quickly before we get going. Parisi, Albert, Oakenhag, front row. Ruffos, Kraus, Ragster, second row. Silva, Kingsbury, Rateau, third row, and all by his lonesome is Matt Kingsbury. 10 laps, 2 jokers. We still await for everyone to grid here, but I have no clue what's about to happen in turn 1.
You're going to have to figure out real quick, Connor, if what your mental status is. You need to focus in here because that's not a distraction you want to be having right before the race.
He's not going to make it. The lights are going green, and we are getting ready without the pole sitter, Connor Parisi. I think he'll be able to make it, but we'll have to see. Green flag. This puts Albert on pole position. Kraus a great start. Albert by himself into turn 1. Let's see who jokers on the first opportunity. Ragster, Matt Kingsbury does. Ray Kingsbury does. Ruffos into Albert off the first corner, and Kraus tries to take the fight to him. Sindre Silva on the inside as Rateau there 3 wide in turn 3. Ruffos on the inside, now a Kraus down to turn 4.
Yeah,
side by side through the corner. Kraus runs it wide. Ruffos takes the spot. Silva bowls Kraus out of the way, and Albert loves this.
Yeah, and Oakenhag is not enjoying it. He's trying to keep that battle close up there in the points, and he got an awful start, put himself right in the middle of this hornet's nest.
Rateau and Kraus battling. Albert leads at the end of the first lap, 3 wide for 4th. And I know we're 1 lap in, but Bo Albert trying to do something that has not been done since the first 2 rounds of the championship. It was Elliott Porterfield winning in Croft and winning in Long Island. That's the only time that someone has won more than 1 race from the beginning of the season. So, record potentially being tied here today. As Kraus gets turned by Rateau in the 23, and the 4-time champion, well, let's basically say he's going to win the race because he's going to magically pull out about 5 seconds a lap. As Albert leads, Ruffos leads Silva. Rateau in the 23. Oakenhag sneaking into the picture. He will joker in the 26. 25 at Kingsbury gets by his teammate. And then Kraus in the 19 comes out behind Oakenhag. Ragster in the 91. Contact nearly between the 2 teammates, 3 wide. And Oakenhag not playing nice here between his, well, de facto teammate and Kraus getting ping-ponged everywhere in the 19. Side by side, Ragster tries to go do the over-under on the 19, and they are battling. I think this is for like the 6th spot according to the timing, so. As Rateau jokers in the 23, still no Parisi. I was thinking that he might be able to make it, but he is not going to make it. He is not on track, and this is crucial as Albert holds the lead. He has stretched his gap. Ruffos, Silva, Kingsbury, Rateau, the top 5.
One thing to note between Rateau and Silva last time through the downhill dirt right-handed corner, what they did, they were door-to-door dinging them left and right, and they were side by side, and Rateau took the joker. Sindre Silva did not.
As Silva in the 3rd spot, getting close to his countryman, Jacob Ruffos. Ruffos ran a 40.861. He jokered that last time around. Silva, 37.421. He was 6/10 down on Bo Albert, who was out front. Parisi, I'm still trying to see if he's going to get on track. I think they just packed it up for the Jim Beaver Esports squad. What a disappointment for them. We know how fast Parisi is, and I ask myself, why couldn't this happen when I was racing Connor Parisi to open up the door for that potential win in Bo Albert's case? Sindre Silva jokers in the 63. We ride on board with the 25 array. Kingsbury, hello, Savian Ragster, and a great detail of the zebra stripes in car number 91. As we take cross flags here in Norway. Getting close to edging closer to the end of this race. I think I've lost Dylan Baadte as I've been talking to myself this whole entire time. Chad Irvine, you got anything else for me?
Yeah, from the Spark Pit, Sindre Silva messed up his Joker, lost a ton of time, and his only reaction was, after hearing the gap to Kingsbury behind him, he said, "I don't care about what's behind, I'm only looking in front of me." And he just sounds so dejected in his voice.
And just chime in, Josh, you haven't lost me. It's just every time I have something to say, like, you got so much energy because of how exciting everything was that you're by the time I'm ready to talk, you're already like 3 topics ahead of me. So
Well,
Jump
3
right
laps to
in,
go.
cut him off. That's what you need to learn how to do. It's what I do.
3 laps to go. Ragster and Kingsbury battling here. And Matt Kingsbury looks like he looped it on the base of the hill. He was running in 7th. He's going to lose some spots here. And Ray Kingsbury battling with Ragster as they take 3 laps to go. Albert still pulling away from Ruffos. I think the strategy is done for them. But the battle, let's take a look at the timing. Albert has not jokered. He's doing the same thing that he did last week. Ruffos' strategy is done. The delta, oh, he's got 10.5 seconds. Unless something catastrophically goes wrong, this might be Albert's race. And Parisi has disconnected from the session, so the 11 fully packing it up and sending it home. Albert jokers for the first time on the penultimate lap, and he's still miles ahead of Ruffos. As we take a look side by side, it was Kingsbury, well, for a moment, until Kingsbury drove it into the wall. Magnus, they're battling for the 9th spot, as they're almost about to get lapped by our race leader, Bo Albert. As Ruffos in 2nd, Silva in 3rd. That podium has not changed. White flag for Bo Albert in the 0-6. And he's trying to tie the record that has never been tied in the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. And it really isn't that big of a record. As there was, sorry, Victor Vallee interrupted us. I'm not sure if he's unmuted on the stream there, but he thought that Albert did not joker. Albert is going to tie the record that has not been tied since, or not been done, since the first 2 rounds of the championship. Elliott Porterfield, it has taken someone 8 years to do it, but Albert wins the 2nd race of the season. 2 in a row, holds the red plate, as Ruffos and Silva on the podium. 4th place will be Ray Kingsbury, bringing it home. In 5th is Sabian Ragster, 6th is Rateau, 7th is Philip Kraus. What could have been for the Canadian? Yet another race where there's issues for him. Magnus Oakenhag, unfortunate for the Norwegian. We thought that he was going to have such a great race. He comes home in 8th. And 9th will be Matt Kingsbury. I think the heartbreak of today, gentlemen, has to be Connor Parisi, unable to grid. What could have been for the American? Fastest in seating, won heat number 1. That gave him pole position. But at the end of the day, he couldn't stay in the session, and de facto pole position goes to Bo Albert. And the Australian makes it 2 in a row, keeps the red plate, ties that record, and we'll have to see, will it take someone 8 years, 9 years rather, to essentially break that stranglehold that Elliott Porterfield had on the wins from the first 2 rounds of the season? Because it's been longer. There have been 2 or 3 race wins in the middle of a season, but never from the beginning. Albert wins ahead of Ruffos, Silva, Kingsbury, Ragster, Rateau, Kraus, Oakenhag, Kingsbury, and Parisi.
based on this victory celebration area alone, this is my favorite track I've ever been a part of a broadcast at. That's how you celebrate a win in style.
As we bring in our drivers to the media pen, we bring in Chad Irvine and Victor Vallee from the paddock to the studio, and we will close it up, gentlemen.
What an incredible race we saw. Victor, I think you can say the same. From start to finish, every single heat, every LCQ, and then our feature, we had the drama even before we took the, before we even got the green. Just what an event we saw.
Absolutely. I think it was one of the, once again, another great event for NASA Rallycross here. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it here. We're going to go ahead and have Sindre Silva jump up to the booth, finishing third today, Sindre. Chad, go ahead and take it away for us.
Yeah, Sindre, third place finish. I heard you on the radio there talking to your team. Once you kind of messed up your Joker, you had to worry about who was coming behind you. But you were looking forward the entire time. What are your thoughts on how that final went?
It made it harder for me for sure in the heat with not getting P1. But no, I think that's the best I could have done. For sure, could have pushed down more laps, but we waited a long time on the grid there, and I forgot to spectate again. So car was a little bit unstable the first laps, but that's how it is. And we just needed to focus forward and not backward.
You talked about, what happened to the car there on that long grid, kind of waiting for Connor to see if he would join in or not. What does that do for you mentally, though? How does that kind of change your mindset as you get set for the race?
For sure, you're pumped up when you're setting your car on the grid there, watching forward into T1, watching what are you going to do. And when it takes so long before we can race, it just make it more frustrating kind of thing. But yeah, it is what it is, and we just needed to focus forward. And I had a lack of talent, or I don't know what, but I screwed it up for myself.
Definitely, you say you screwed it up for yourself, but you definitely improved from last week. Kind of just, you went from 9th last week to 3rd. You got a first place in mind next week at Lucas Oil.
I'm not there for getting second places, that's for sure.
Well, hey, best of luck to you, man, the rest of the season, and we will see you next weekend in Indianapolis.
Yeah, let's see.
That is Sindre Silva from Team Spark in the number 63. Next up is your second place finisher, Jacob Ruffos. What a race he has. Started 4th in the feature, I guess technically 3rd after some of the issues that we saw from Connor Parisi. What were your thoughts on the event, Jacob, and what are your thoughts on second place?
Yeah, it was a great race. I started in the second row, and I got a great start. We was into T1, and I think I pushed Bo a little bit, but straight up, and I was 3rd coming down to the little gravel turn. Yeah, and I got through and just managed to get the second place and just drove my own race.
2 races into this season, what are your thoughts on the competition so far?
It's pretty good. Bo has been very good, as I've seen. And it was, I think it was won the last round, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, he's a pretty quick driver.
Yeah, he's one of the world champion drivers as well as Sindre Silva. And, we got a tough field here in the NASA GT Rallycross sponsored by Sim Racer Coin. We got a couple tricky tracks coming up: Lucas Oil, Crandon, and Wild West the next 3 weeks. Any tracks you're looking forward to on the schedule?
Probably I look forward to Phoenix, since I think that's the place I'm fastest. And yeah, I think that's the place that I could probably win.
Well, hey, congratulations on your first podium of the season. That is Jacob Ruffos in the number 13. Thank you for joining us here in the booth, and we will see you next week at Lucas Oil.
Yeah.
And finally, one last interview to do for you guys. A driver we've already talked to this season. I don't really know if he needs much more of an introduction. Bo Albert takes P1 once again, this time at Lånkebanen. I can't even pronounce it. Here at Hell. I'll just go with Hell. Yeah. And, first Brands Hatch, then Hell. It was noted by Josh Mertz. You're the second driver to open the season with 2 consecutive victories. That is the record for starting the season. You're going to go for 3 next week?
That's absolutely the goal, but whether or not that's possible or not, I'm not sure, because I think we saw today that round 1, I definitely had perhaps a little bit of a pace advantage over some people, and was able to use that in the feature. But today at round 2, it was way closer. Connor, phenomenal lap in qualifying. I said to him, I maybe had a 5 in me, maybe a 6, but at no point in time did I ever have a 0.4. So fair and square, he slapped me there. And he should have been on the pole tonight. He should have made life very, very difficult, because when you start second on the grid here, really, you are in a really tough spot for a strategy, whether, you try and stick it around the outside, which is a long, right-hand hairpin, or if you go for the Joker and perhaps get stuck in traffic as well. So, I am happy to get the win tonight, but also quite disappointed that it wasn't the fight I thought it might have been.
Yeah, it was definitely looking promising. And unfortunately, technical issues there for Connor. I kind of heard you over the radio there as we were getting ready to grid. Just, kind of not sure what to do with the delayed start. What are your thoughts on, kind of what was going through your mind during that, making sure, everything was right and where your nerves settled? How did that little delay there impact you?
It's a tricky thing mentally to have the start pushed back by about 2 minutes in the end, I think it was, compared to normal. So it is very tricky because mentally you begin to overthink, you begin to over-process every situation. I've done these race starts 100 times over, but on the grid, waiting for the lights to come on, you start questioning yourself, is this the time I stuff it up? Am I going to go wrong? Am I going to outbrake myself? You overthink and all things go through your head. But at the same time, for me, because it is such a competitive series, I like to make sure that I run my fuel as lean as possible, basically to within 1.5 liters of running out of fuel. So when we're on the grid for so much longer, I refuse to turn the car off because there's sometimes an issue where the car won't refire. So I was just watching my fuel tick down, and I was getting a little bit nervous, but thankfully it all turned out well in the end.
Yeah, the first 2 rounds of the season, Brands Hatch and Hell both had negative deltas on the Joker. Next week we go to Lucas Oil. And having 2 Jokers here in the NASA Rallycross series, how does that change things for strategy?
Well, I think Lucas Oil is a bit of a unique one in itself, with the fact the Joker is by far the shortest of any compared to a regular lap delta. I think it's usually about 0.2 of a second that we're faster or slower sometimes compared to a regular lap. It's one of those Jokers that really isn't the best for strategy, but it can still open up some doors, absolutely, if you time it right. So it will mix things up a lot more compared to what we're seeing at the moment. So in the first 2 races, everyone's taken their Jokers. Well, I've preferred to take in my Joker quite late. And I think, moving forward to the rest of the season now, you'll see drivers much more taking them at the start of the race to try and get a shortcut.
Yeah, how much does clean track mean here in Rallycross? I've not driven too much of it, but overall, it looks like there's a lot of strategy. Especially, I was listening to the Spark guys over the radio. They were having 2-3 guys in conversation trying to figure out when to take the Joker. How important is that you get that lap exactly right?
Oh, it's massively important to make sure you come out in clean air, because around a track, especially at Hell, if you come out behind another car, there is very limited passing opportunities apart from a big dive into turn number 1, which if you come out of the Joker is an entire lap away, or you go for a big dive at turn 4 and hope you get up the inside there. So clean air here is super, super important. So that's why at the start of the race, when I did manage to break away from the cars behind, I refused to take my Joker, simply so it was complete eyes forward, make sure that there's no mistakes, because the second I get behind a lapped car or a slower car or a driver fighting for position, it's just going to cost you a lot of time. So that's why I also took my Joker. Normally I would have left it to lap 9 and 10, but I took it on lap 8 and 9 because I was slowly catching up to Magnus, and I just wanted to avoid all form of traffic whatsoever, so played it safe.
And last one for you, man. Anybody you want to thank? Any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, absolutely. So a big shout out to the guys at Logitech G Altus Esports for preparing the car. It was an absolute rocket ship tonight. And of course, a big thank you to our title sponsors in Logitech G and Astro Gaming, and also our other partners including Cube Controls, Chiefs Esports Club, and Own 3D Gaming.
Well, hey, Bo, congratulations on a 2nd consecutive win to open up the season. You've got a pretty big points lead. We'll have to see where things go next week from Indianapolis. That is Bo Albert, a driver of the 06 for, as he mentioned, Logitech G Altus Esports. What an incredible start to the season he has as we wrap things up here. Dylan, Josh, Victor, any thoughts?
Honestly,
I didn't think it would take 9 years to tie the record. I thought that record was going to stand to the end of time. Every single season, I think that it's going to be broken. It doesn't get broken, and now, well, tied or broken. And now it is. Being around for every single race, it's crazy to see how everything can develop. We saw last week how insane, crazy, whatever other term you would like to use, how that race was. And it's just getting better. And I mean, this field, 27 cars, and we didn't even have the same 27 guys as we did last week. There was still a couple of people that were here and there. And I can imagine that next week at Lucas Oil, if we end up with every driver that is race, we're going to have some knockout qualifying, gentlemen.
And that's one of those things that we don't see very often here. And Josh, you just kind of mentioned how long this series has been around, how much it has changed overall, though. Did you ever think that we'd get to the point where we'd have multiple world championship contenders here in the NASA Rallycross series?
People ask me why it's called the NASA Rallycross Challenge. I think it was Sindre Silva earlier. Why is it called Challenge? He didn't call it dub, but I'm in the lack of terms. And I said, well, it wasn't supposed to be. It was only supposed to be one race. We were supposed to have that one singular race in Croft that had 9 drivers, and it was just 9 of us buddies from across the country just logged on and just were banging doors. And I never thought that it would become a world championship quality series. I know it's not an iRacing sanctioned series, but the fact of the matter that we've got world championship drivers in this series, it just blows me away. But every single moment that I could sit back and watch this, I mean, there's a reason why I got out of the car, and it was for this reason, because there comes a time where someone is better than you at something, and I think today proved that.
Well, what an incredible start to the season we've had. Bo Albert just starting to run away with it. I just want to remind everybody, make sure you're here tomorrow night as well. We do have more racing action as we get the NASA GT series underway from Road America. That's going to start, I believe, at 9 o'clock. I need to get my time. 8 p.m. Sorry, 8 Eastern. I need to get my times down because I would have been an hour late. But that about wrapped things up. Man, what an incredible race that we saw. For Josh Mertz, for Dylan Baadte, and for our producer, Victor Vallee, thanks for jumping in with me during pre and during the warm-up as well. But for everybody here at NASA, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We have to thank our sponsors at Simracer Coin, and of course, thank all of our drivers, fans, and teams out there. But for everybody, I am Chad Irvine. We will see you tomorrow night at Road America for the opening round of the 2021 Rallycross or GT Americas season. But thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night, and race safe.